pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Here.
Councilman McCarthy.
Here.
Councilman Wareham.
Here.
Councilwoman Noack.
Here.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Here. Want to start, Connie?
Sure. You got it? Okay, great. Thank you. Under public hearings, the town board to consider zoning petition 2016-03 by Bola LI Corporation to modify conditions number 4A and 4G of the approved petition of 2013-06 for property located on the north side of Jericho Turnpike, 146 feet west of Ruth Boulevard, Comac, NB zoning district, 89-2-6.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. Appearing on behalf of the applicant, Eugene L. D. Nicola, 200 Railroad Avenue, Sayville, New York. At this time, I will submit the affidavit of posting, the affidavit of compliance with notification provisions, and the return receipts. The applicant requests a modification of conditions contained in the Town Board Resolution 213-16 dated October 6, 2015, which granted a change of zone of the subject premises from WSI District to NB District, subject to certain conditions. The subject site is located at the north side of Jericho Turnpike, approximately 234 feet west of Ruth Boulevard, Comac. Along the north side of the subject premises are 3 residences whose backyard abuts the subject site. The site contains an operating gasoline filling station with a canopy over a brick sales kiosk and multi-product dispensers. There is also a 5-bay repair garage existing on the premises. There is a buffer area of approximately 50 feet from the rear line of the subject site, which abuts the residences I previously referred to. The subject site contains 40,590 square feet of plot area. Now, a petition for a change of zone from WSI to NB for the site was heard by the Planning Board on March 19, 2014, with a recommendation for approval, which was recommended September 17, 2015. The Town Board heard the petition for the change of zone on March 19, 2015, and by resolution dated October 16, 2015, granted the change of zone from WSI to NB with conditions. Now, with regard to the conditions under consideration this evening, 4A requires that a berm at least 6 feet high along the rear shall be constructed. That's the exact language of the condition. 4G states the issuance of a certificate of compliance for the buffer shall be issued prior to the issuance of a building permit for the proposed building. I am sure the board members may have a copy of that memorandum dated September 29, 2015, which contains the conditions. Now, with regard to 4A, the problem is if a 6-foot berm is to be erected along the rear of the buffer, is that rear lot line adjacent to the backyards of the residences? And if so, there's a good chance when you have a 6-foot berm with a 1-on-2 grade, the water, when it rains, is going to run down the side, causing flooding in the residents' rear yards. And then it is further in conflict with subsection B, which requires all recently planted and previously existing trees and shrubs near the rear lot line shall be preserved. Well, obviously, you can't preserve, and there's some large trees, you cannot preserve trees and shrubs if you're going to build a 6-foot berm, which has a 30-foot base going up to the top of the berm, and then erecting a 6-foot wall on top of the berm. So I presume at the time it was inartfully drawn without consideration of the berm that was to be erected. The description of the location of the 6-foot berm had to be clarified and described in a more appropriate location or manner. Pursuant to 4G, the petitioner would then be required to complete all work, including the berm, the wall, the plantings, and the buffer, contain a certificate of compliance before it could even apply for a building permit for its improvements, that being the convenience store proposed and a new canopy over the dispensers. Also, how would the 5-bay repair shop be addressed? When is a demolition permit to be issued? The estimated cost for the 6-foot berm and the plantings required by the conditions and the 4-foot masonry wall on top of the berm is approximately $125,000. So if the applicant then expends $125,000 building this berm, doing all the plantings required, building the decorative wall on top of the berm, then he may first apply for its building permit to construct the improvements with the hope and prayer that some objection is not raised for the issuance of the demolition permit for the 5-bay existing station, which has been vacant for many, many years, and the building permit for the proposed structures. So then if the building permit is then issued, then the improvements have to be constructed without doing damage to the buffer that has been completed. It would obviously be more practical to perform all work on the site in a proper sequence pursuant to a detailed site plan and landscape plan with all permits issued simultaneously for the work to be performed. Now, the applicant is not objecting to the improvements that are being required to develop this site. It's just the conditions and restrictive manner in which they are being imposed. The berm will be planted on both sides, as noted on the site plan to my left, showing the schematic. Let's see, I have it upside down. So you have the berm, which is going to have a 30-foot base, going up to the peak at 6 feet, then on top a decorative wall with plantings which are specified in the conditions on either side. So you couldn't put it up against the rear line. The planning board, following a public hearing on March 15 of 2017, this year, recommended a modification of the conditions to the town board resolution which approved the change of zone. So they are recommending a change for a berm, and using this language, which is the planning board's language, a berm measuring approximately 30 feet in width at its base and no less than 6 feet in height with a grade of 1:2 shall be constructed approximately 30 feet from the adjacent residential properties to the north. A masonry wall of 4 feet in height shall be constructed measuring 170 feet in length on top of the aforesaid berm. This is where it probably would be. This is a 20-foot rear yard, another 10 feet. So you'd be 30 feet off the rear line of the neighbor's properties, so that'd be more than adequate area to absorb any runoff from the proposed berm. So that's the modification to A that is being requested, and that has been agreed to with the planning board and the planning staff. G, the language modification is as follows. No temporary or permanent certificate of occupancy or certificate of compliance for the building or canopy shall be issued until a buffer area, including the berm, plants, and wall, are completed in accordance with the approved site plan. So building permits would be issued, demolition permits would be issued, the berm would be, the buffer area would be developed according to the site plan, the wall, the berm, the wall, the plantings, and the building. So everything could be done at once and completed at once. However, the petitioner, the applicant, the property owner would not receive a certificate of occupancy until everyone was satisfied with the buffer area. Provided the town board agrees to modify the conditions so they are practical and acceptable, the petitioner will pursue the recording of the declaration of covenants and restrictions apply for the special permit that's required from the Board of Zoning Appeals, and develop the site with a modern facility. I respectfully request the town board modify the conditions as recommended by the planning board and as discussed and agreed to with the planning board chairman as well as the planning staff. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor,
Thank you.
members of the board.
Thank you very much. Anybody wish to be heard on that matter? If not, I'll close that hearing.
Second.
Oh, Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Correspondence.
Say it again.
Correspondence.
Correspondence, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you
Good
very
evening.
much.
Good evening.
Okay. Parade Run Walk, American Legion Post 944, Memorial Day Parade. Parade Run Walk, Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce, Fun Run. Parade Run Walk, NRSPF 5K1, second reading. Parade Run Walk, NRSPF Canoe Kayak Race, second reading. Parade Run Walk, NRSPF 5K Turkey Trot, second reading. We have a parade run walk for Wood Primary School Fitness Walk, that's the third reading. Parade run walk for Greater Long Island Running Club. Training run, third reading. Special event, St. Philip St. James Roman Catholic Church Carnival, first reading. Special event, Kings Park Chamber of Commerce, Kings Park Day, first reading. Special event, Kings Park Chamber of Commerce Music Concert, first reading. Special event, Long Island Green Market, Weekly Farmers Market, first reading. Special event, Community Association of the Greater St. James, Summer Nights, first reading. On file with the clerk is the Building Department report for March 2017, which is there for anyone's perusal. Parade Run Walk, Kings Park High School, Homecoming Parade, first reading. Anyone wish to be heard for or against the granting of those permits?
We have two people,
Right here.
Supervisor.
Right here. Meg.
Meg Sugar. Meg Sugar, Eddie's Power Equipment, special event.
Good evening. My name is Meg Shutka. I am the wife of the owner of Eddie's Power Equipment, which is located at 553 Lake Avenue in St. James. And I'm here to speak on Special Permit Community Association of Greater St. James Summer Nights. I have a concern with the area that they are looking to, I guess, close off. I have not seen the actual plan, I guess, of what they want to do, but it's rumored that they're closing off from Maple Drive down to the gazebo area. My husband's business runs well past 5 o'clock. The event is from 5 to 9 on Wednesdays during the summer, with rain dates of Friday night. And I have a concern about how that's going to impact his business and also the parking for him and his worker, because they park along Lake Avenue. So I really don't know much about this event. Unfortunately, nobody from the Community Association of Greater St. James has approached any of the businesses along Lake Avenue, to my knowledge, within this area, and that's a concern. Also, the sign that was posted for this event, I think there were 2 signs posted. I only saw one, which was actually located south of the railroad tracks, where this event is being held north of the railroad tracks. I don't know if that's a concern or not, but I just have concerns about this, about safety. If it's held on Friday nights, what that area is going to turn into after the event is over at 9 o'clock. Is there enough security? So that's my concerns. I would hope that they would maybe look for an alternative area. Apparently, they're going to be, I don't even know if this is true, but they're placing the band in the horseshoe of the St. James Elementary School, and then they're having food vendor trucks along Lake Avenue, which would be right in front of those businesses. So, again, I don't know what time these food vendors would be there, but if an event starts at 5 o'clock, you're talking about placing vendor trucks there maybe as early as 2 or 3 o'clock, which are going to impact the businesses along Lake Avenue.
Mr. Clerk, do you have
Within
any
that area.
paperwork on that event?
I don't have it here.
You don't have
but
it
we do
here?
have it in the office.
All right.
Of what the criteria is all about.
Okay. Well, would you furnish a copy for each board member?
Sure.
Okay,
With your
thank
I'll get
you.
the
objections noted.
application to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one more, Supervisor.
Yes. Gabe Shankers, Park Bake Shop. Gabe,
Hi, Supervisor.
how are you?
All right. I'm not against the market. I'm just against the part that I heard that it's going to be up to 4 bakery booths this year.
The farmer's market in
Yeah.
Kings Park.
Yes. And, we're appealing on the community for many years. We had all the kids from the Kings Park High School. All our bakers are from the Smithtown area, Kings Park. And I just feel like Sunday, the day that we actually make money, we have all these farmers, all these bakeries coming into town. I just don't think it's fair, after all the taxes and everything that we pay, $120,000 a year on rent, which probably like 17,000 of that rent goes to pay part of the taxes from the bakery to the town. I just feel like it's not fair. I mean, 4 booths with bakeries is just a little too much. I just hope that you guys take in consideration our concern for me and my employees, and I don't know, maybe we can do something about that.
So your objection is?
For the bakery, I have no problem with art and craft and all
Well,
those
let me
kind of
finish.
stuff,
Your objection is that baked goods are being sold?
and being sold at the market.
Okay. All right.
It's like I said, Sunday is the day that we actually make money, and, we have 4 bakeries coming into town. I don't think it's something fair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda Henninger.
Hi.
How are you?
My name's Linda Henninger. I'm with the Kings Park Civic Association and LI Green Markets. And we were surprised, or at least I'm surprised, to have the bakery here today. We're going into our 7th season for the market. We have the same amount of vendors that we've always had. We haven't added any additional. It's been pretty steady. The market came to be from members of the community came to us and asked us if we could help start a farmer's market. It wasn't our idea, the board. And members did. Ally Schwartz, there was a bunch of them. We brought it in, and it's been very successful, and the community really loves the market. So we think if you weigh, the benefits to this market, to the town, we think it outweighs any small issues there might be. We bring people into the downtown from the market. They go into the town, they get a cup of coffee, they go to the bagel shop, they'll sit in Russ Savat Park, they'll get ices at Ralph's Ices. It's been very popular, and we think it's a big benefit to the town.
But you would agree that Mr. Shanks has a reasonable complaint?
I don't know. I can't tell yes or no whether or not we have a gluten baker. They just do gluten-free. We have, well,
I know. I buy it.
yeah. So I don't think the 5 hours they're there once a week for a limited amount of months, really injure him too much. No, I don't.
How many baker vendors are there, do you know, Linda?
We had 2, the gluten-free, and then we had Blue Duck. There was a woman who did savory pies, that was ham and things like that. I don't consider that baked goods.
But don't you
And there's
think-
about 10 to
But don't you
15.
think his complaint is reasonable?
Well, we pay fees.
How much is the
To-
fee? $50?
No, it's not $50. I think at the front, I just had to pay $100. It's a lot more than that. I think we pay that several times. But no, they pay to be there.
Who do they pay that fee to?
You.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I walked it in the other day. Yeah, I know who I
Okay.
paid. It came to you guys.
Okay.
Not the vendor fee.
All right, well,
Thank you.
thank you.
Those.
Those are for later.
All right, advertise for public hearing.
Well, we don't have an argument, but certainly you could reply.
Sundays.
Just give me your name one more time so it's on.
Gabe Stanko from Park Big Shops.
Great, thank you.
Sundays is always been the busiest day on the bakery. I think everybody knows that. And since the market opens up on Sundays, our busy day is Saturday, no Sunday anymore. That's all I wanted to put out there.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, advertise for public hearing. The town board to authorize the town clerk to advertise for public hearing to be held at 2 p.m. on May 9th, 2017 at the town of Smithtown Town Hall to consider town's entry onto real property located at 58 Wyandanch Boulevard, Comac, town of Smithtown, New York, 11725, for the purpose of removing the accumulation of assorted rubbish, garbage, and debris, as well as overgrown vegetation and large piles of leaves from the site, all in violation of Town Code Chapter 221.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah?
Yes.
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Becker?
Item number 2, the town board to authorize the town clerk to advertise for public hearing to be held at 2 p.m. on May 9, 2017, at the town of Smithtown Town Hall, Patrick R. Vecchio Building, 99 West Main Street, Smithtown, New York, to consider the town's entry onto real property located at the northwest corner of State Route 111 and State Route 347, reputedly owned by VEA 181 Realty Corporation for the purpose of remediating and removing the structures threat, which have been designated as unsafe in accordance with the unsafe building standards as set forth in Chapter 112-25 of the Smithtown Town Code, as per recommendation of the Director of the Building Department and the Town Attorney.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah?
Yes.
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Becker?
Yes.
Under resolution, item number 1, A through G, bid number 17-22 for arts and craft supply to S&S Worldwide, Econo Craft School Specialty, and WB Mason per bid openings March 23, 2017. Bid number 17-024 for animal shelter supplies to Phillips Pet Food Supplies as per bid openings March 30, 2017. Bid number 17-015 for lawn and garden supplies to Site One Landscape Long Island Cauliflower Association to Nassau Suffolk Turf Services per bid openings March 23, 2017. Bid number 17-026 for mulch bags to 40N Packaging as per bid opening April 13, 2017. Bid number 17-031 for radio repeaters integrated wireless per bid openings April 13, 2017. Bid number 17-006 for roof repairs to the Smithtown Highway Building to MDB Construction Corporation per bid openings March 9, 2017, and to further authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement on a form approved by the Town Attorney's Office. Item number G, bid number 17-025 for landscape trailers to Bissett Equipment as per bid openings on April 13, 2017.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah?
Yes.
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Becker?
Yes.
Item number 2, the town board to authorize the town clerk to advertise a request for the proposal to be returned to Town of Smithtown Purchasing Department, 65 Maple Avenue, Smithtown, New York, until 4 p.m. as the dates indicated. To A, RFP number 17-038, reporting services for the planning board meetings, returnable on May 18, 2017.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah?
Yes.
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Becker?
Yes.
Item number 3.1 and A through AC, the town board regular meeting minutes of March 23, 2017. B, request to dispose of fixed asset number 10417 Xerox scanner copier. Michael Guido to attend a welding class at Suffolk BOCES. Extension of bid number 16-084 for polyester bags with Central Poly. E, levy costs and expenses incurred by the town of Smithtown in the amount of $3,232 in connection with Chapter 221 cleanup proceedings commencing on the premises of 35 Shenandoah Boulevard, Wisconsin, town of Smithtown, New York. F, pursuant to the public hearing held on town board on April 4th, 2017, to consider the town's entry on the real property located at 207 Bread and Cheese Hollow Road, Fort Salonga, town of Smithtown, New York, for the purpose of removing the accumulation of extremely large amount of junk, rubbish, debris from the subject site in violation of Chapter 221 of the Town of Smithtown Town Code, and Town Board hereby declares the site in violation of said section in the Town Code, and hereby authorizes the town to enter upon property for the purpose of removing and remediating said violations. G, the Town Board to issue a parade run walk permit to Wood Park Elementary. H, Town Clerk to issue parade run walk to Greater Long Island Running Club. I, Donald P. Mustard, Kathleen Kaur, and Paul Urbano to attend a GF0OA spring seminar. J, Town of Smithtown to join the National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance. K, Bay Constable to attend a conference regarding radiological nuclear training. L, Bay Constable Thomas McLaughlin to attend Marine Law Enforcement training. M, amendment to Civil Service Employees Association full-time personal unit as 852 regarding the wage and salary plan and the addition of title Animal Shelter Education Specialist per the attached agreement. N, Superintendent of Highways to enter into an agreement with local fire and water suppliers. O, Bay Constables to attend Marine Patrol Vessels Operation course. P, attached proposal of sea level mapping for the hydrographic survey work, Smithtown Bay, at a cost not to exceed $6,995, and to further authorize the supervisor to execute a form approved by the town attorney. Q and R withdrawn. S, home rule request issuance in support of Senate Bill number S352 and Assembly Bill A7073 to authorize the increase of highway purchases from $800,000 to $1.2 million. T, animal shelter to lease a copier. U, town board to approve vehicles and equipment to be placed in auction as per the attached list. V, extension of RFP 14-060 sonography reporting equipment. W, the rejection of all bids received April 13, 2017 in connection with bid number 17-017 for fuel facility improvements. X, extension of bid 16-042 for athletic field marketing paint. Y, town attorney to execute letters of an estoppel concerning the lease agreements between the town and Cytec Wireless. Z, renewal of agreement with Thompson's Reuters for online legal research. AA, the town attorney to provide a letter of indemnification to New York State Homes and Community Renewal. AB, adoption of the 2017 capital budget for funding sources and 2017 through 2021 capital program. And AC, the rental of a track loader for the Highway Department to Penn Machinery Company.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim?
Did you fill out?
And look,
Yeah, on AB, I filled it out. I think it's
Yeah.
something that,
At the end of the meeting.
Yeah, after the meeting, Supervisor,
Yes.
after the,
Well, you have an objection to granting these permits?
I think that in terms of lumping the adoption of the 2017 capital.
Supervisor, if you'd like him to speak, you'd have to come to the mic so
Sure.
we can get his name. But like, can I finish with the?
Sure.
Let me do that. I'm going to start over again. Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes, I'm on all of the letters except H. H is a no.
H.
Yes, sir.
Your name and your address, so for the
Okay.
record.
William Hulse, 47 Nichols Road, Nesconset, New York. I'd like to be heard on the matter AB, because I think, given the fact that it's a matter that's not just, something of a minimal amount of money, it's a significant amount of money, that it should be actually, listed as a separate item. And I went to the town clerk's office today, and after some persistence, I received the proposal, and I was told that initially that I couldn't have the items that were going to be included because it wasn't, formally already approved. And I think there's some sort of defect in the process here. I mean, we have a situation where the town law certainly requires a public hearing on the operating budget. And, we have an operating budget of, a little over $44 million, and yet, this is an item that has ramifications of $27 million. So first of all, it really should be a separate item, not lumped together, with all these other things in terms of your voting. And I don't know if all the members of the board are even aware of some of the options in terms of what can be done, in addition to the possibility of having a public hearing on this capital budget. Section 64 of the town law, which talks about the general powers of the town boards, gives you all a right to set up a citizens advisory committee on capital improvements. And rather than having, just something done, on Monday, and I don't know whether you've had a chance to really go through all these things, and as of this afternoon at 3:30, it wasn't really clear as to whether or not all the items were going to be in the proposal. there really doesn't seem to be enough of a time period for you to really digest what's in the capital budget. So I think in terms of the process, you ought to think about setting up a citizens advisory council for two reasons. One, making sure that these items are properly in the capital budget as opposed to the operating budget. I know the Newsday article talking about this item was saying that with respect to Mauritius Park, the neighbors welcomed it, but they were going through Band-Aids like crazy. So I mean, if the surfaces are not being properly maintained, that to me would seem to be something more for an operating budget and shouldn't be bonded because of the additional costs that bonding requires. So I think it's incumbent on all the board members to really be comfortable with what's being proposed in the capital budget. And I was going to ask to have it adjourned. I guess that wasn't possible since you already voted on it. But I would suggest two things. One, thinking about having a citizens advisory committee on the capital improvements for looking at the things that should be in the capital budgets, and you have this working out not just for 2017 but 2018, 2019. So that would be an ongoing process, and also the follow-through, not just having it included in one year's capital budget, but making sure that those things actually happen, because the community expects them to happen, and the bonding is costing us all money. So if it doesn't happen, it's just unnecessarily been a cost to the taxpayers. So I'd like you to consider that in terms of improving the process with the capital budget, and certainly I think it should be a separate item in your agendas. Thank you very much.
Number 4, the town
Thank
board
you.
authorized the town clerk to advertise for bids to the following to return to Town Hall 99 West Main Street, Smithtown, New York. 4A, bid number 17-037, steel stock, returnable May 25th, 2017. Bid number 17-041, fuel facility improvements to the Smithtown Highway Yard, May 25th, 2017. C, bid number 17-042, fuel and management system, May 25th, 2017.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novick,
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchia.
Yes.
Item
Number 5, the town board, after due study and deliberation of subject record, to issue a secret negative declaration of termination of non-significance in the following matters for reasons stated in the memorandum of the dates indicated per 5A and B. A, the town board, after due study and deliberation of secret of record for the site plan of Bowler L.I. operating for the reasons stated in the memorandum from Howard Barton as per April 21st, 2017. And B, determination of non-significance in the matter of site plan of Kismet's Homes LLC.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novick,
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchia.
Yes.
Item number 6, the town board authorized the acceptance of the following, as per 6A and B, accept insurance payment, total loss of a fixed asset trailer, and B, acceptance of an HSBC check.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novick,
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchia.
Yes.
Item number 7, the town board to authorize the controller to execute the following as per A through L. These are housekeeping entry items. These are increase in revenue codes. These are transfers and decreases as per the printed agenda items.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novick,
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchia.
Yes.
Item number 8, the town board to authorize the supervisor to execute the following in the form approved by the town attorney as per 8A and B, a contract between County of Suffolk and the town of Smithtown for the nutrition program for the elderly, and B, amendment to agreement with FBS Inc. to extend a period for additional 31 days.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novick,
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchia.
Yes.
Town board to approve the settlement by the town attorney's recommendation of 9A, B, and C in the amounts of $1,000, $12,500, and $2,087.78.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novick,
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchia.
Yes.
Item number 10, the town board to authorize the release of the following as per 10A, B, and C of the printed agenda items.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novick,
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchia.
Yes.
Under personnel, item number 11, 11A through W, for the personnel matters, seasonal appointments and reappointments, temporary and part-time appointment, a salary increase, change of status, Salary increase, seasonal appointments to the Parks, Buildings, and Grounds, seasonal appointments, Parks, Building, and Grounds. Full-time appointment, seasonal appointment, and reappointments, full-time appointment, change of effective date, seasonal appointment, seasonal, change of effective dates, promotion, rescind resolution 2017-395, and seasonal reappointment. And W, amend the exempt agreement to update the list of titles covered herein.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noak?
Yes.
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchia?
Yes.
Under traffic, the town board to authorize the following amendments to the Uniform Traffic Code and authorize the Traffic Safety Department to install and maintain the necessary signs as per A, Schedule J, parking, standing, and stopping, and Schedule J, parking, standing, and stopping, as per the printed agenda item.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noak?
Yes.
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchia?
Yes.
And we have 3 read-on items: adoption fees, animal shelter, National Adopt a Pet Day as per April 30th, 2017. Adoption of fees to be discounted by 50% per adoption for the national events average discount for April 30th, 2017.
You want one at a time?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noak?
Yes.
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchia?
Yes. Those
Okay.
wishing to be heard.
Hold on, we got 2 more.
2 more.
And transfer of Darrell Cisanarello to the Department of from the Department of Highway Department to the Department of the Parks, Building, and Grounds at his same title and pay effective May 1st, and transfer of Domino Cuesta from the Highway Department to the Department of Buildings and Grounds at the same rate of pay effective May 1st, 2017.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noak?
Yes.
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchia?
Yes. Okay. To be heard, Rosalind Palazola. Please.
I'm Rose Palazzolo. I live in St. James. I do not feel that the school district is really doing the town, the Smithtown School District a favor by trying to sell the New York Avenue School. I have a different outlook on education. The school district has closed 2 elementary schools, and now they want to sell the town, the New York school, and I don't think they should. I think they should make that into a school for emerging technology, because we always hear complaints that we do not properly train our students to do the technical jobs that they have filled by people who live overseas. Now, there is a school right now in Florida, I believe. It's called the Dillard Center for Emerging Technology. It is a 4-year high school, and you have to take a test. You have to have a .20 average, and the students must apply to the Emerging Computer Technology Program. Students are required to maintain a 2.0 to remain, a 2.5 to remain in the program once they get into it. Students should have credentials to take Algebra 1 or higher their freshman year. It's a 4-year high school. And these students, when they come out, they have gotten scholarships for $1,500,000. That's how much they're needed by Motorola, there's a lot of, oh, here it is. Okay.
Rose,
No, I'm trying to find it.
I
Oh, here it
understand.
is. Opportunities will incorporate sponsors like Motorola, Apple, Cisco, Office Depot, and Brother Kit. In other words, students would be educated, instead of having to go to Wilson Tech. They go to Wilson Tech, they could only be there for 2 terms, junior and senior. So this is a different school, and students would get a very good education, rather than selling it to the town, where it's not really what the purpose is. The purpose of that building is to educate our students.
Thank you, Rose.
Thank you, Rose.
Oh, I just want to give this to you, so you could read about the school.
I'll pass it down, Rose.
Okay.
Thank you.
Corey Victoria Geske.
Here you go.
Thank you.
In February, I had proposed a 3-part plan, possibly a college, National Historic District, and a pedestrian overpass into the New York Avenue campus. To update all of that right now, I just wanted to bring to your attention tonight a few little historic facts that accompany what you're looking at. More than 100 years before this town hall was built, every April during the 1760s, 70s, and 80s, except during the American Revolution, and for years thereafter, Arthur family members were chosen at general town meetings as officers of the town. Their home across the street from Town Hall has significance and integrity of architecture and location. Today, I'm asking the town to consider the historical values of the buildings now under appraisal relevant to the New York Avenue Joseph M. Barton School and the Arthur House. I hope your appraisal is considering historic value with the potential of New York State historic preservation matching grants for the future. As I informed the school district, the Arthur House is now NRE. I'm here to make sure you know this building also is NRE, National Register eligible to enjoy benefits of state and federal protection. And if you file paperwork for the register, you could apply for matching grants for repairs. The National Register Historic District I proposed in my last presentation to you, call it a Town Hall National Historic District with a theme of remarkable art and architecture from 1911 to 1948, is intended to revitalize Smithtown. The focus would be the Arthur House School, Town Hall, and nearby structures designed by more than 12 world-class and/or resident architects working around this town hall, designed by Lawrence Smith Butler, direct descendant of Smithtown's patentee, Richard Bull Smith. The National District would overlay local historic districts and open the door to monetary revitalization of downtown. By researching historic inventories to fill in half a dozen blanks, I now can give you the names of the more than a dozen architects who built upon their predecessors' designs to create a community of interrelated architectural gems. In order of construction, Gustav Stickley, American leader of the arts and crafts movement, whose own home is a National Historic Landmark, the highest honor given a cultural resource in the United States. Lawrence Smith Butler of Ford Butler and Oliver. Grosvenor Atterbury, Tooker and Marsh, America's leading 20th century school architects. Lawrence Grant White, Norman McBurney, August L. Viemeister, Peabody Wilson and Brown, Morgan French and Company, Robert Tittle McKee, Rambush Decorating. Was a coincidence that Butler was in Kobe, Japan in 1925, and McGill and Hamlin, who designed Kobe College in Japan, designed a church in Smithtown in 1928. Not coincidence. Planning? Yes. I ask you to plan Smithtown's future with this valuable history in hand when considering your appraisal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy Plimpton Fortunato.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for your consideration of the school buildings across the way. I'm very interested, wondering if there's any update onto the appraisal, anything to tell us?
Mr. Town Attorney.
Not at this point. We're finalizing the appraisal with the appraiser.
Okay.
I do expect something shortly.
That's great. I feel like I'm embodying Bobby Hughes for you right now. The other thing was, so of course, we had in the Smithtown News today about the downtown revitalization and the capital, exactly what we discussed earlier. And this article is in the editorial section, but it's asking us to have consensus, asking us, these plans should reflect, and I'm just quoting, these plans should reflect vision, will, and consensus of the citizenry. Finding all that information will take outreach work, but it is doable. So we're asking the same thing. Could you get us involved? It might take some opinion polling and consensus building. So this is kind of something that as a community, I live here, I care. So please consider getting us more involved in this capital plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sean O'Malley?
Thank you for hearing from me. I think all 5 of you have probably gotten emails from me. And Supervisor Vecchio, you've explained to me that my issue is related to the sump on Rutherford Avenue and St. James Avenue South. I understand that it's the Highway Department's obligation to handle the sump, but I'm just here to reiterate the importance it is to the community, the residents of our local area. You know, I know that the town has had some problems in some sumps, but we had a idyllic area. In fact, I've got a picture of what Google Maps has got it, and you look at what we have here, and then if you look at the pictures that I sent you, it's mind-blowing. It's unbelievable how they just clear-cut 2 sections of the area. And, you know, I might have started it by talking about one tree that was going to fall on a power line during a storm, and from there on in, it's just crazy to me. So the one thing I'm just pleading for is, you see on Montclair Avenue, the Highway Department has put up privacy fencing. It looks good. That type of thing, some shrubs, some evergreens. Those are the types of things that would help make this area look better again. And you know, I know many of you have expressed your interest, at least, and I appreciate that. And whatever you can do with the Highway Department would be very much appreciated by me and my neighbors. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. No, Henry Powell.
Henry Power?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Supervisor and board members. I spoke at the last April 4th by surprise. I had not been notified, so I prepared like a little speech for tonight. Good evening. I have been a lifelong resident of Smithtown for almost 60 years. I've seen the community grow from wilderness to the urban development area it is now. My father taught me at a very young age not to be quick to throw out everything. This led me to his practice of make it better than it originally was. Friends, neighbors, relatives relied on my abilities to fix or repair just about anything better and stronger than original. Times have changed. Throw it away or give it to Henry. Yes, I accepted far too many donations. If it was easy fix, it went to the curb and got a new life. Very rare did I ever sell for profit. Wood and lumber were free at the municipal services facility, so I would give away free anyone asking. I experienced some troubles that set me behind and did not address the eyesore which developed. As I told my family, this is what I do for a living, fixing and repairing. I am addressing the situation head-on for 2 years, even before the mysterious fire occurred 4 days after my neighbor warned me of a fire concerns. I assured her I had never had a fire in my yard. I still have some materials to repurpose or cut to 4-foot bundles and place at the curb. I am working with the code enforcement and building department to try to reach an acceptable solution before it becomes necessary for the town to intervene, and I will lose my many valuable assets, materials, tools, and equipment, etc. I am downsizing, building sheds to accommodate valuables, not trash and rubbish that was stated. As today, sheds are not finished, but building department has advised me on changes and requirements. They are currently empty, as are several registered trailers. I have not cut wood, cut grass, made noise for 30-plus years when neighbors are entertaining. I've always volunteered to help anyone in distress and did not know neighbors' true feelings until April 4th. I will comply happily with code requirements. Work, weather, personal matters, health issues have been excessive these past few months. I am asking for time to become invisible to the neighbors north and south of me, as I have never intended to cause them any concern. This is my livelihood, and I can organize discreetly. Today, I overloaded my trailer and I made 3.5 cents a pound, but the effect was worth it. There is no concern for fire as I am vigilant to remove leaves from firewood and lumber. Thank you for your patience, as I know this has gone on far too long enough. I will make it right. I am a one-man operation, no employees. I do custom work by request. I raise and sell plants. I don't use chemical fertilizers. I am very environmentally conscious. I am old school, hard work. Thank you very much for hearing me.
Thank you. Marilyn Bohan.
Hello, my name is Marilyn Bohan. I live at 54 Orchard Drive, Fort Salonga, adjacent to the Powell property, which runs 400 feet by 25 feet. My house due to variance is less than 20 to 25 feet from the Powell property, which is inundated with flammable materials. You have my testimony as to the details of it, so I don't want to go back into that. However, I just want to add an addendum to what I spoke about. Since speaking, there is now a total of 17 plywood sheds and lean-tos running along the neighbor's yard and starting to run along my yard, and a new fence to hide all of this running along my property. I know from Karen Sylvester that she contacted the building code, and Joe went over there with her, took pictures and showed them to you of the condition in the yard. It has just grown exponentially since I last spoke to you. He said that the plywood buildings are, as far as the square footage goes, the 50, I think it's 50 square feet, that is acceptable. However, the floors, the roofing, the siding is not within code. My question is quickly, not to go on because you have my testimony, if these sheds...
Where was your testimony?
Last month? Yes, just the last, I think, the last month. April 4th, was it?
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't bring that with me. But as far as the building code goes, my question is, will these sheds be allowed to remain on his property in the hope that he will bring them up to code? And if the town comes in to clear the property of all the debris, if they can even get in there, would the sheds remain? They are a potential fire hazard. They are filled with junk. They are filled with wood. And
ma'am, your time is up.
yes, okay, that's my point.
Mr. Town Attorney, you're aware of this case?
Yes, we had the public hearing on, I believe it was April
Yes.
4th. Well, it's a property maintenance violation case, but that, the issue of the sheds, that's currently being reviewed by the building department. And, of course, there's building codes and zoning codes, which the property owner would have to comply with.
This has been going on so long, the yard is not being cleaned up. More and more debris is being brought in, as the next neighbor who's on the other side will testify. It's a potential timber box, and I am the one, my husband and I are the one that discovered the fire. He was not home, the neighbors were not aware of it, the fire engines could not even get into the yard, and her shed had propane tanks in it, and it was on fire. The brave firemen ran in to get the tanks out. They put out the fire, but once her fence was down, she discovered all of the recyclable she had put out over months was in his yard
You're
behind the
referring
fence.
Miss Sylvester, she's a
Karen,
code
yes.
enforcement officer.
Yes, I've been in touch with her, she's wonderful.
Okay, and what has she told you?
She has told me that the board is going to vote on whether or not to bring a contractor in to clear the property. Also, she contacted Joe at the building department, who came over 2 days ago and took pictures and gave them to you. And also, he is going to follow up on this. So my question was, is he going to follow up after after you vote on to clear, I mean, if it's cleared, would the sheds remain? There's still a fire hazard.
That was on the agenda tonight. What number is that?
Yeah, just.
Yeah, on the agenda, the town board approved the
Jeff,
cleanup.
3F. We voted on it tonight.
Oh, all
And
right.
it is in violation and to start the proceedings.
What about the sheds? Are they, because there's like 17, are they going to remain in the hopes that he will bring them up to code?
Well, why is it out of code?
Because he said that they're within the footage code, but they're not up to code as the flooring, the siding, this is what Karen had told me, the roofing, and the spacing. They are like right next to each other. I mean, the fire would just, we're 20 feet, 25 feet away from.
What's that resolution actually say? Pursuant to the public hearing held by the town board on April 4th, to consider our entry upon certain real property located at 207 Bread and Cheese Hollow Road, Fort Salonga, for the purpose of removing the accumulation of an extremely large amount of junk, rubbish, and debris from the subject site in violation of Chapter 221 of the code. So we have approved the town entering onto that property and removing the accumulated debris.
And that includes the wood sheds, the plywood sheds?
I can't answer that
Oh,
question.
okay.
But if it's a shed within the parameters of the town code, then it will remain.
It's only in the parameters of the square footage, but not as far as the, and it's also out of code because Karen said that they are one after another. They are too close to each other.
Well, that will all be determined once we clean it up and find out. Specifically, Ms. Sylvester has not informed us of that.
She said that she had given you pictures.
No. Who did she give the pictures to? The building department?
Yeah, she might have gave the pictures to the building department or maybe
In any event-
public safety.
Yes, if we were inspecting it, it was sent over to the building department to inspect it.
Oh, all right,
And we're
fine,
waiting
thank
for the
you.
results from
I
it.
have pictures on my cell phone if you would like to see.
Would you
They
take
are-
a look at your agenda that you have there and look at F under? It tells you that the town
Yes.
is going to go in and have that all removed.
All right, okay, so if they're in violation, too close together, whatever, then they would be removed?
That's
All right,
correct.
because it's a series of fires over the
It
years.
says
and-
here, for the purpose of removing the accumulation of an extremely large amount of junk, rubbish, and debris from the subject site.
Mhm. All right, I just wasn't sure if it included the sheds that are so
Well-
close together. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thea Monsetto, sorry that pronounced wrong.
I'm the neighbor on the other side, and the sheds concern me as well. 15 of them, 7 of them along my fence line. They're tinder boxes, too. Not just the debris, he's moving the debris into the sheds. And the sheds will be the next tinder box to go up, and my house has already been close enough to the fires, and my shed's already been burned down, my fence was burned down, my trees have been burned down. I'm in danger, and the sheds are right where they're gonna cause me future
Is
problems.
this correct? He has 17 sheds on the property?
Yes.
Well, it's okay, but
Sheds are parts of. He's got one that's
Okay.
not really a shed, it's the back of a truck raised up on stilts.
we'll have our public
truck-
safety department go and take a look again
Please.
and determine whether he should be summoned or not, or whatever.
Come onto my property and look, because from his property, they never walk all the way to the back and see how it is 400 feet back.
Okay, good point. Thank you.
If I may add, they were there yesterday, the building department and code enforcement were there yesterday.
Okay, just make a note that they can go on that property.
And the numbers are incorrect.
Okay. Nancy Featherston?
Thank you Supervisor Vecchio and council members. My name is Nancy Featherston. I live at 6 Peach Plum Lane, St. James, New York. As you're all aware from my recent communications with town officials, Smithtown's Long Beach is slowly being sand-starved by bluff residents building unlawful seawalls. In the past, and as we speak, one of them has no permits. Yet, Joe Arrico, head of Parks Department, has allowed dune access across Long Beach over the last 3 months for heavy construction equipment carrying boulders to these seawalls. The scientific fact, supported by any coastal specialist, will confirm that the existence of Long Beach Spit was created by and depends on a steady supply of sand from normal bluff erosion. The eastward current moves the sand along the beach toward the channel, as any swimmer or boater knows down there. Older bulkheads built years ago on mid-bluff stopped a portion of that sand flow, creating the need for the jetty that now protects the pavilion. Last year, a long black steel bulkhead was built. Now 4 more 6-foot-high stone seawalls east of that have been added. One of those is the permitless one. There's a stop work order on it. All access facilitated by our own town parks department. Village officials expect to approve 2 more on May 16th at 7 o'clock at the Village Hall, and their engineer expects several more applications next fall. That will triple the sand loss to Long Beaches. By the way, none of these bluff residences are in any jeopardy and have long lawns to the edge. Google them. Mr. Vecchio, when I approached the board about erosion at Long Beach, your response was, "I'm just a Brooklyn boy. What do I know about beaches?" How discouraging.
Yes, very discouraging.
When they are entrusted with your oversight. The town's New York State approved coastal LWRP agreement and the new workshop for it boasts continued intermunicipal communication. Really? Smithtown has not responded on any LWRP action notices from the village in recent years, according to the head of the Joint Commission. And I have to say, Allison Murray told me the same from this side. Are you even aware of what's been going on? Smithtown's, forgive me, but apathy, reluctance, and perhaps ignorance needs to change. Allowing Nissaquak to completely seawall erosion control the East Bluff will destroy Long Beach in our time for us and our children. Communicate with Nissaquak now that their continued unlawful seawall permit approvals overriding their Joint Commission's consistency denials need to stop. Please carefully read the materials I've supplied to the board to completely understand the issues involved. I know nobody read my letter to all of you when I received a response from Mr. Jakubowski. He hadn't read it either. Please read this time. I'm working with Miss Youngst. She's a remarkable young lawyer. I think you need to listen to her. I'd like to see my town be part of the solution and not part of the problem. But otherwise, you will be in the same position as Southold. If you've read Newsday, and nobody reads it anymore, 2 stories on the loss of their town beach gone to the asphalt. I was a teenager there when there was a pavilion there. Look at the pictures. There's 2 miles of bulkheads the whole length of it. I know the regulations. They're not being carried out by the village. They're not being, honestly, carried out by the DEC. I wrote one letter 10 years ago, 24 years ago.
You've used up your 3
I
minutes.
have, and that's okay. Thank you.
We've got your letters and your...
Please read them.
I will. Ally Ellis Schwartz.
Hi. Hi, it's so nice to see the faces that I've heard so much about for the last 7 years, so it's kind of nice to see who everybody is up here. My name is Ally Ellis Schwartz, and I am the founder of the Kings Park Farmers Market and a resident forever of Kings Park. I went through the schools here, I grew up here, and moved away for a short time, met my husband from Boston, and he actually wanted to move back to New York, and moved to New York. And we wanted to move back to Kings Park because I loved it here. I loved it here before the farmers market, and I love it even more now after the farmers market. I guess my agenda for starting the farmers market is probably the most important. I wanted to give back to the community that I grew up in. I thought this community was lacking in some respects, different things. And I grew up hearing about Northport, and I grew up hearing about other towns. And I came back and I said, what could a mom, a full-time speech therapist, do to help her town, you know? So I took it upon myself with another woman, contacted the Chamber of Commerce. They didn't really want to hear about the farmers market at the time. Contacted the Civic Association, and they said, hey, I think there's another woman who's interested. Why don't you guys try and figure it out? And it took a good year and a half for us to even get established. Thank you for the help. We really appreciated it. The market has added, from what my perspective and from what I've heard from others, so much value to this community. It has given back in countless ways that I can even imagine. About 3 years ago, we did an informal survey at the market, just wanting to see where everyone was from, because we got a lot of comments like, wow, I never even knew Kings Park was here, or where are the Bluffs, or where can I grab some lunch? And we had about 60% of people coming from other towns. You know, East Northport, St. James, out in Wisconsin, Comac. It brought a lot of people to this town, and it kind of put us on a map in a different way. And I guess my slogan was, small towns can do big things, because it was big for this town. And we've had the Girl Scouts at the market raising money for the VFW. We've had the food pantry being stocked every week with fresh produce. I don't know any food pantries around on Long Island that do that every week, starting during the growing season. St. Vincent's de Paul, located in St. Joseph's Church, has a food pantry that has been getting fresh produce since the market has started. We have raised hundreds of dollars with Hula Hoops for Hope. We did a fundraiser for the girls that were killed out east in the limo accident. We did scholarships for them. This market has given back in countless ways, and it's very, very close to my heart. It has brought people to the stores and to the restaurants, and while it might not be, some of the people in the stores might not be happy, growing hurts, and I think people have to reflect on themselves to see what they can do to bring our town up to where it needs to be. You know, not everyone's going to be happy with everything, but working together has been a main goal. One more thing, Ms.
All right, please.
One more thing.
Sure.
So being, you know, part of this market in the way, my only agenda, again, I don't work for it, I'm the founder, is I went to restaurants and stores in the community, and I said, let me take you through the market. Let's figure out a way we can work together. We did market walkthroughs with
May I interrupt you?
Sure, go for it.
I've heard many complaints and many good things about the farmer's
Right.
market. But there is a sense that when you interfere, if you will, that's a bad word, interfere.
Yeah, it's bad.
But you compete, that's the better word, with a store or entity that's paying taxes.
Right.
And that's the complaint. So
Right.
a farmer's
Yeah.
market, isn't a farmer's market to bring in French produce?
Right.
And
And
yet-
locally made goods. So I guess you have to understand what the rest of the country kind of gets at this point. You know, I lived in Brooklyn, farmers markets everywhere. I went to college in Madison, Wisconsin. You know, farmers markets bring something to the community that you have to understand. It
Well, we
brings a-
agree with you because we
You do-
permitted it.
Of course you do, right.
Okay,
So,
but do you understand, or at least I understand,
yeah,
that other entities which sell their
I'm
products
gonna be upset.
and are in a standing building, paying taxes, have some complaint that you're interfering or selling the same product they are and not enhancing the
So,
community?
I guess what I could say a few things. The market does pay, right? So the market does pay to the town.
Not very much.
Okay, but it does.
I think it's a $50 fee.
It's given back. That I can't even, you know, go there because I'm not the business end. I'm the person that grew up here who thought of a win-win situation to take a parking lot that was underutilized and desolate and bring some action back to this town that needs to wake up. You've got a lot of young people moving here. Listen, I love these stores. I go to them, and now people are coming to them. My friend who lives in Comac just came to Park Bake Shop to buy a birthday cake for her daughter. It's just, you've got to understand that and not...
Okay, we understand it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Zolo?
Mr. Supervisor, originally I was going to speak about agenda items 3, Q and R, but they've been withdrawn, so I'm not going to speak about that. But as I was sitting and listening about the farmer's market and the bake shop, just maybe as something that could be considered as maybe Park Bake could open up a little satellite in the farmer's market, and they give them a courtesy-free table or something like that, so people who walk in there can know what the wares are for the local stores. And he can have a little business over there as his little, to help make his bakery better known to people who come out other places to see, to come to the farmer's market. Just a thought.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that concludes all those who wish to be heard. I'll move that we close the meeting.
Second.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.